Speaking at the budget consultation in Natambua High School yesterday, the Minister of Finance highlighted the areas of focus government is working on leading up to the national budget announcement. Using the recent natural disaster as a case study, he reminded the forum on having an extensive basis of the economy.
35% of our GDP depends on tourism. So the reality is that you can have one single climatic event that could set you back for decades. That's why we say that we are vulnerable, because you can have one event that can devastate your economy. We need to get out of that space. That is our challenge. In order for us to be able to get out of that space, we need to have a broader based economy.
And with infrastructures from decades ago not only hinders growth and development, but also bites a big chunk of the budget every year.
So what do? We obviously cannot change the past. What we can do is, going into the future, we need to ensure it does not happen. So 20 years' time, nobody's standing up here again in Natambua High School, hopefully in a bigger hall and air-conditioned, then they won't say that, oh look, they did this 20 years ago and we are paying for it today. So we need to be able to build our economy with a view to the future. And no economy is ever built just overnight.
With a few arms of the manufacturing sector struggling on paper, the overall performance is not inevitable.
We think there's an enormous potential in the manufacturing sector. As the Deputy Governor highlighted, when you look at the overall statistics for manufacturing, it is seen to decline because of the sugar production. But it does not necessarily mean that manufacturing in other areas of the manufacturing sector have decreased also. In fact, there is a growth. In fact, in some of those areas, we've seen a lot more people investing in the factories that are being built. We see enormous potential for Fiji. And that's why it is very critical from government's perspective to ensure we get the right infrastructure.
Kayum also reminded the business community present here of their crucial role on working with government in building an interesting domain.
The way to do that is to be able to target areas, the businesses in Australia and New Zealand, for example, that have the appetite to come into countries like Fiji. But from government's perspective, obviously, we need to have a better regulatory framework. From your perspective also, we need to be able to work together to provide the right environment to be able to entice those businesses into Fiji. It is also very critical that all facets of the economy, including trade unions, employer organizations, employee organizations, understand the reality that we need to get our pricings right. If the pricing is not right, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not just only talking about labor costs, I'm talking about costs across the board. If the pricing is not right, you do not become an attractive destination.
The national budget will be announced on the 26th of June. Chesetu Sinu, Fiji One News.